on, waiters?
GGI, that shit go phone. Right at that in my business. Right at that in my business.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this amazing episode of Education Street, brought to you by us fantabulous folks at the Follow Through. As always, please click subscribe, give us thumbs up, tell all your friends about us, because if you're willing to pay for OnlyFans, realize we are the OnlyFans you will never need to pay for. We're also on a host of various podcasting sites such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Anchor, and I believe Google. We should be on all of them. And if we're not, at least the main ones, we're on there. So today we're going to dive into something which has kind of been plaguing the mental mind state of Gen Y 1.0 and Gen Y 2.0, aka the millennials. Now, some people like to include Gen Z, but the reality is Gen Z doesn't really exist. They want to say it exists because people don't want to face the fact that boomers have spawned like 3 to 4 generations of children. God bless them. They had a lot of sex. They had a lot of kids. We will never enjoy that. So we're going to get into this hustle mindset, right? Because everywhere you look and you talk with people, they're always talking about some side hustle. They're talking about doing this. They're like, oh, you got to get your hustle on. You got to get that side hustle. I just want to lay it out there. Stop your side hustle. It's a complete waste of time, and it's all bullshit. This idea that, the millennial era keeps going to is really stupid. Because if you really think about it, the reason why you're so, asphyxiated and focused on a side hustle is because you yourself are lacking something, and you're trying to compensate for that. You're trying to compensate for what you have failed at in life, which might be you. I'm not saying you probably are a failure, but you might have failed at something in life, and part of that failure is you, where maybe you've not obtained certain things that you want, right? Maybe spiritually, maybe financially, primarily financially in most of the things that you see on the internet and Instagram. It can also, reflect, a void that you're having in life. But this whole side hustling thing is really stupid because at the end of the day, you cannot create any real growth and value when your brain is just scattered everywhere. It's similar to our attention span. Like when you go out, no one can have a decent conversation with one another. They're constantly picking up their phones and, they're just, I don't know what they're doing. I've seen people just play text. Like they're not even texting anyone. They're just like pretending to text. It's so fucking weird, right? But that's our problem. Like try having a conversation with somebody within 2 minutes they're playing on their phone. That's not a conversation. You kind of have like an addictive personality there to your phone, and your short attention span is now plagued other parts of your mind and brain, where when it comes to focusing on yourself and investing in yourself, right, you want to go do 800 different things. I mean, it's complete lunacy. It's very similar to like, we all do it. We make fun of people who say like, oh yeah, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a pole dancer, I got OnlyFans, I'm trying to be a lawyer, and it's like, well, which one are you? Because you can't be all those things and be equally good at each one. You will equally suck at each one of those things, but you won't be amazing at one, which would allow you to be good at the other ones. That's really the reality, and that's I think the problem with side hustling is it takes attention away, right, from your craft, whatever that is in life, and you're trying to put it in 10 different pots, hoping that you will gain some results. And it's not going to happen. It's just like how they've showed multitasking gets less work done, and they've proven it in the laboratory and in real life, right? They've shown that when you multitask, you get less work done at each task than you would if you were to just focus on each task individually and complete it. And not only do you finish your task better, you do it better, okay? The way you got to think of side hustling is when I used to do Junfan Jeet Kune Do for martial arts, you learn a lot when you have to learn how to fight. It really shows a lot of character about you as a person, and also at some point your opponent. But think of side hustling as this: when you fight for everything, you fight for nothing. Let me repeat that. When you fight for everything, you fight for nothing. What does that mean? It means that you, who fight for everything, you really fight for nothing. It means that you have zero values in life. You have no foundation, no core of a foundation, no solid foundation to lean on. You have nothing worthy of honor or respect that mean a lot to you. It means you are lost. And in the fighting world, right, and in real life, when you see someone constantly fighting everybody, right, like when you look at that person, you go, wow, this person really has no moral high ground. Nothing is important to them. But when someone is willing to like fight for, let's say, their girlfriend, right, or their wife, or their kids, or their family, it displays what is important to them value-wise. And so when you're side hustling, you're no different than someone who's fighting for everything because you're fighting for nothing. When you're side hustling, you're not working for anything. You're not trying to achieve anything. You represent nothing. And that goes back down to philosophically how there might be a void in your life, how there's an emptiness that you are trying to fill, but that will never happen if you always side hustle. Because when you have 99 side hustles, what are you really hustling other than your personal time? And you achieve nothing in the end. You know, some people think like, oh yeah, I can go buy a car, I can side hustle. I mean, I see these dumb videos and I just get, you know, part of me gets irritated because think of all the time and energy that you waste when you see these dumb videos. Someone go, oh yeah, I bought a car, or I'm leasing a car, and now I'm on this car app. I can lease it out to other people, and like I'm making $100 a month. Okay, so you have a car that's costing you $700 a month, and now you're trying to make an extra $100 a month. You're still down $600. Just saying, you know. And then what happens when your car crashes? Right now, you lost your car. Is it really worth it? You know, I think people are confused as to the skill set and the discipline it takes to really invest in your own hustle. You don't need side hustles. You just need you and certain things about you. So let's continue on this, right? It's really better to focus on yourself. Really, it's better to invest in yourself. Invest in your craft, whatever that is. If you're aspiring to be a doctor, figure out which field of medicine you want to go excel at. If you want to be an OBGYN, go become the best OBGYN. You want to become a plastic surgeon, go study and become the best plastic surgeon. You want to become a lawyer, go become a lawyer. You want to become a welder, become the best welder that when they need to go and weld things on Mars, your name pops up on that list. Learn a trade, become educated, invest in what you have put your time into, your money, and your energy into. Don't give up on that shit. Really don't. The reason why you're being distracted is because everyone around you is a fucking loser and they've made fun of you for going to school or investing in your craft or investing in a trade. They don't believe in your vision. And you know what you got to do? You got to do what surgeons do. You got to cut them. You got to cut those naysayers out. Because unless if they're rolling around in like a fucking Porsche GT3 RS or a Lambo, they have no right to criticize you. Okay? Just saying, especially if they're rolling on a Suzuki, just saying. Those naysayers, you got to kick them out. Don't give up on yourself. Something has led you down that path where you went to school, right? You invested into a craft, a skill set, okay? Believe in it. Own it. Put some time into it. Don't give up after like 3 months or a year, okay? Really put your energy into it. I'm just going to tell you, most businesses and successful individuals that I personally know, they have, and that we have worked with as well, okay? Where we created a game plan, a schedule that they live by every single day, they succeed. And I'm telling you, most of those businesses do really well after 5 years. That's where you start making what we love to call sick money. You just start making so much money, like all of a sudden you get a $10,000 bill for something that broke or whatever. Maybe you bought some shit because you felt good. You don't sweat 1 minute of that because you can pay it off because you have now gone up the mountain, and you're only going up higher and higher till you reach a really stable plateau. In the corporate world, personally, I've helped one of my closest friends who wanted a specific financing job where they went from working from a bakery to getting 6 figures in the last 12 months. And yeah, it was done in the last 12 months. And to set this as a reference, because I'm hoping 5 years from now somebody will be listening to this, it was all done during the COVID year where everyone was getting laid off. We created a game plan. We fine-tuned what he was doing wrong in his interviews. We fine-tuned his resume. We made it reflect his actual skill set because we knew he was great. We knew he was smart. He was a fucking hard worker, dedicated, was not a fucking cupcake. He had a lot of grit. And every day it was like, look, you get up Monday through Friday, you do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G sometimes. And on Saturday, you do the same thing. And on Sunday, you recoup. You do it, even if you got no jobs. And guess what? After 90 days, he was getting so many phone calls, he had to turn people down. But that's the whole point. He knew his craft. He knew he was good at it. Not an expert yet, but he was damn good at it. He believed in it. And everything we did was to get him towards that goal of the job he wanted. You know, some of those jobs initially, they weren't the initial job that he applied for in the beginning. But they were a stepping stone to where he wanted to go. And the thing is like, you know, you go, how? How did somebody get this job in one of the worst economic depressions we've had since 1929? How? Well, we focus on what he had studied in school. He had studied in business in school. And he wanted to really get a specific job for corporate finance, okay? So we took the skill set he accumulated when becoming a general manager at the franchise brand he was working at, and we molded that. As we said, all those other things, we made that schedule from earlier before. We took the things that he was doing wrong in his interviews. We took the things that he was doing wrong on his essays and on his resumes, and we corrected them. We made them better. And so the question we get is, well, how did they get this job during one of the worst economic, really it was like a depression since 1929? And well, it comes back to this. This individual knew what they studied in school. They were a business major. They know they wanted a corporate finance job, but they lacked the initial skill set to get there because they had just recently graduated from their university. And just, you know, as we mentioned from before, what we ended up doing was we took the skill set that he had when he became a general manager for a franchise brand. I mean, he was overseeing about 30 people just in that store. So that's a very unique skill set that a lot of people may never even accumulate in their entire lives working certain jobs, even in a corporate environment. To oversee 30 people and about 2 to 3 different teams, there was a lot of managerial skill there that was heavily valued, that was not coming out in his interviews, for example, and on his resume. So we took that, we repackaged, right? We saw what we were doing wrong. And this is, I think, the important thing, right? You know, side hustlers, they never focus on, you're trying to build a craft and you're trying to learn from your mistake. They never focus how important it is to figure out, like, why am I not getting my interviews? What is wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? It's sometimes the simplest of things. Just even the way your header is on your resume can make a difference as to if they're going to keep reading it or not, you know? And we took that and we molded all that from the earlier part of the podcast, which was, you know, he had all this great experience and he wanted a specific job. And more importantly, we knew that every job that he would try to seek should be a stepping stone to his ultimate goal, which was his dream job. So even in the corporate world, you can do that. But guess what? If he was side hustling, this individual would never be where he is at today. Because if he was side hustling, he'd be like, oh, I'm applying to these jobs. Now I'm going to go and do this shit. Now I'm going to go like and try to, sublease my car. I'm going to rent out the bathroom in my in my room on the weekends to people who need to use it. Right? All this energy would be wasted in all these things that really create no value at the end of the day for what he wanted to achieve. And that's the big issue with side hustling is instead of focusing on mastering your craft, it takes your time and energy and attention away from improving what you're already really good at and becoming, better at it. One of, I think, the biggest negatives with this whole idea of I got to side hustle and hustle is it's stressful. It's very stressful to constantly think I got to hustle and I need to have all these side hustles. When you do that, it kind of shows that you have no grit, you have no spine, you have no determination and not want where you want to succeed. It means you're constantly looking to get rich quick, which doesn't happen. Being honest, it never happens unless if you're doing maybe something illegal or if you win the lottery. And in most cases, you don't get rich quick unless if you win the lottery. Okay? Just doesn't happen in the real world. Even the most successful, let's say, people on Instagram, right? The influencers, the ones who got, hundreds of thousands to millions of followers, they perfected their craft. It wasn't an overnight success. They really put a lot of time and effort into it before it became easy doing it with G-string photos. But still, it takes a little bit of time and effort to do that. But it's very stressful when you're constantly trying to do a side hustle. It means you really, it means you have zero courage to stick to your goals. And when shit hits the fan, and it will hit, and it will spread a lot of poo in many different directions, it means you're trying to find the next quickest escape route to go and do something else. It means you don't have that determination to stick it through, to really want to succeed. And more importantly, like if you have that type of mindset where you're just constantly looking for the next best thing, what does that say about yourself as an individual? Correct? Because that means in your relationships in life, if things don't go your way, you're going to be looking for the next door. It means that with your friends, you're not going to be there for them when things are difficult. It means that when you are in a proper relationship, such as with a boyfriend or girlfriend, when things get difficult, you're going to be on Tinder looking for the next date. It's not a good mentality to have, and it's a very bad characteristic to continue to feed and nurture, because it will not yield what you want in life. You're going to be one of those cupcakes who 2 to 5 years from now is going to wonder why, as they say, life sucks, because you failed to see that early on in your life. Part of let's say the scientific reason why as to why we hustle, primarily, it's just Instagram. I know people say social media, but it's really Instagram. They're the dominant player. Maybe TikTok, but people are just dancing on TikTok like they've lost their minds. But it's really Instagram. And because of that, people are lazy, right? We no longer support. People are lazy because they see what's on Instagram. They go, I want to have that right now, but they don't realize it takes time to get to that thing that you just saw on Instagram. It's not a side hustle. It's a real personal hustle of yourself and your investment in who you are. And because of Instagram, people become lazy, and we no longer support each other as friends. We're constantly trying to bring one another down. We're constantly trying to find ways to deride one another. And instead of helping each other get to our goals, we're just throwing boulders of rock in front of our paths so that it becomes harder to succeed. Because look, if from the time you're young to the time you're an adult, your family tells you ain't shit, and then the people that you call your friends ridicule you for having ambitions in life, such as, let's say wanting a mansion or wanting to go buy a Ferrari or have an M3 or M4, and they want to make fun of you for these things, it's kind of hard to go and succeed. It's a very toxic environment. It's not good. And I think, that lack of support with what's going on Instagram and the social media world really has made us as Americans, and it could be happening to our friends in Asia and Europe, but has really made us as a society envious of things that we don't have, which is a shame. Because in reality, there are many things that we have that we should be grateful for. And so from kind of like a scientific standpoint, we've shown why we want to hustle. But from a spiritual standpoint, maybe it's time to stop looking at what other people are doing and just really look at yourself and be grateful for what you have. There's nothing wrong with aspiring to want to do better in life, but there is something wrong when you are envious of what someone has and that you don't have it, and it makes you upset. And that's when it's important to just self-reflect and really look at what you have in life, because I can guarantee you 90% of us in this country, there are many things we should be grateful for, but we do take them for granted. You know, I think the issue with this whole mentality of the hustle is, you know, people, they want to believe that if they do all this, you know, all this nonsense, they can get like their Porsche or their Lambo, but it just won't happen, people. You know, I'm going to give you an example. Jeff Bezos never had a side hustle. He only had Amazon. And guess what? People made fun of him for Amazon. People told him Amazon would fail, much like the CEO of FedEx. The CEO of FedEx, just on a quick note, his own MBA professor, I believe it was his MBA professor, told him it was the stupidest idea. Guess what? He went and made it like 2 days later, just started working on it. FedEx is one of the most profitable companies in the world right now. Right? He believed in himself. Jeff Bezos, ridiculed for Amazon. People thought it was dumb as well, because who'd want to go buy books and CDs from online? We all saw how that turned out. He never side hustled Amazon. He kept focusing on Amazon to make it better, to make it a better user experience for us. Like, everybody uses Amazon now. Everyone and their grandmothers use Amazon. It's amazing. And you know what he did? He side hustled Amazon. That's all he did. He made Amazon better. He side hustled Amazon to the point where once the books and CDs were making him enough money, he could make Amazon more of a better marketplace for people. And then he started showing other things beyond the books and the CDs. And that's why we can literally buy so many products off of Amazon. And when that reached its potential, after 20 years, when Amazon was launched, Jeff Bezos created a space company by the name of, I believe, Blue Origins. But it took him 20 years to get to that, right? So that was his side hustle. He made another company, but he never took time away from Amazon. And I think that's the important thing that a lot of us fail to see. If Jeff Bezos had the mindset of today, Amazon would never get off the ground, and it would never allow Amazon to grow and prosper the way it has today, where you can literally get just about anything you need on it. You need like a old, I don't know, cord that connects your monitor to your motherboard. I mean, to your computer. You can find that on Amazon, right? But it didn't get there because Jeff Bezos was side hustling 50 different things. No, it got there because he focused solely on Amazon and made it better. And it got so good to the point where when an opportunity came to make a different company, he was able to do that. You know, the way you want to think about it is, like, from an analogy standpoint, is if you're a farmer and you're growing oranges and you're trying to grow oranges and apples and pomegranate all at the same time, you're going to fail. Because like pomegranate blossoms in the winter and fall, right? Apples come at a different time. Oranges, depending on the type, come at a different time. All your fruit trees are going to die. So the way you want to look at it is that once your original fruit tree makes you so much fruit and you have mastered that, you have perfected that, only then will you have the ability to invest your time and resources into a new venture. Otherwise, you're just pissing away your time and money in 18 different ideas where nothing will ever mature. You know, the psychological aspect of constantly trying to find that hustle is very taxing to your emotional state, your soul, and your well-being. I mean, who the hell wants to constantly find a hustle and worry about it? Why create more stress and headache in your life? Why not be so damn good at what you do that you don't need to take that energy away and put into something that's just diluting your brain power and becoming the best at what you can be? That's what made Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant so amazing. They were the best basketball players that we've seen in the modern era. The best. You know why? Because they weren't trying to make rap CDs and be actors and be influencers and do all this other nonsense. No, they perfected their game. And it was their perfection in their game that gave them the skill set to take those skills and apply them to their new ventures in life. Unfortunately, Kobe Bryant died way too early, but guess what? He was killing it. He won, I believe it was an Oscar for his movie. Someone who had never even been in that field before. He made children books because he was that talented. He took that skill set of being a champion and wanting to be a champion into now his new field. And Michael Jordan is no different. The Jordan brand is one of the most successful brands under Nike. I think they bring in roughly like $500 million in sales a year. And he has really capitalized on his name and the success of his brand because he still makes great stuff. If his stuff sucked, that brand would not exist today. And I think that's the important thing is why create that unnecessary stress of always looking for, oh man, I got to go do this side hustle. Oh, I got to go and do this. No, dude, you don't need a generation hustle. You need to just generation chill and really focus on you and let your hard work give you the reward that you are seeking. It will happen. And learn from your mistakes. Because like at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is invest in your craft and your skill set. You got to believe in it. Let it grow. Let it be your orange tree where it's going to eventually grow you some fruit. When you plant a new orange tree, nothing comes out for a couple of years. But if you treat it right, you invest your time into it, it will give you what you seek. Let things mature. Let your craft and your skill set mature. And don't give up too quickly. And realize you have the ability to make the change you need, whether it's through education, reading, mentoring, etc. You have that ability. Only move on to something else when you have mastered what you are already trying to do. When you've mastered that, only then seek something else. But don't do it if it's every 2 months. You're just a clout chaser at that point. You're seeking the next best dopamine hit for your body, and that's not good. So remember, your side hustle should only be one hustle. And that is you and whatever your craft is. It'll make you happier and wealthier in the long run. And it will bring you the fruit that you seek in this life. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
What the fuck going on, Wailers? GCI, yeah, that shit gon' fall. Right at that in my bitch to the tone.